And we are live. So, welcome everybody to the live stream, a special live stream. I don't normally do this on Tuesday nights, although I don't know if we really have a set schedule, really. I know we do it on Friday nights at 7 p.m. Pacific time. Right now, it's 7 p.m. Pacific time here in the Pacific time zone, which is in Las Vegas, of course. And I want to just wish everybody hello, and I will start the Amazon live stream. We're going to be on Amazon Live, simultaneous, of course, to YouTube. So let me get that going. And we will be live on Amazon in 1 second exactly. Let me know if you can hear and see me okay. I see we got 7 of you already in the live stream. Let me know if there's any issues with the audio or the visuals. Okay, so I see we got 7 so far in the live stream. So the reason I wanted to do a live stream tonight, as we see 33 of you starting to populate into the live stream, the reason we're going to do a live stream tonight is because of a leaked photo that you're looking at, the thumbnail you're seeing on the screen right now. And that is because the Dell XPS 15 and the Dell XPS 17 have been leaked, whether on purpose or not, I don't know, by Dell. But it's exciting because we see some very interesting changes to the XPS line that we've been wanting for a very long time. And so I'm really anticipating this to be really, really something good. I expect to get both devices into the studio for review at some point. But again, these have not been officially released yet. So let's just keep that in mind. Let's say hello to a few people in the stream, of course. I saw a fan was waiting earlier. How are you? Michael, how are you? Yeah, the video started, so that's good news. That's me. Moed, how are you, mister? How are you doing? Let's see who we have here. We have Benito. How are you? How's those subscribers going? Very good, Benito. Thank you for subscribing, of course. We have 80,000. The last I checked, I think it was 80,600 and change. We're closing on 80,700. So the growth has been great. William, how are you? Good to see you again. Another regular. Let's see. You are correct, fan. Karim, how are you? April 8th, 5 a.m. You got up early for me. I appreciate that. Nick M, good to see you. Fan, I already said hi to you. And we'll talk about this. Benito, previous to your live chat, I posted a message in your X1 Carbon regarding battery life. You said, yeah, that's an interesting question. What Benito was asking is if you have the 4K display and if you bump it down to full HD, will you get better battery life? Thinking, and the logic is it probably would be, but that's not the case because of a few reasons. We're not going to get into it right now, but I will answer that at some point. Let's see. Hear you good. That's good. I'm going to be doing improvements on the live stream, by the way, going forward. Now, I'm doing a live stream on both Amazon Live and on YouTube. If you're watching me on Amazon Live, I have some great deals for you in the carousel below of the previous version, or the current version, really, of the XPS 15. Not the new leaked version, of course, but there's some good deals, and we'll talk about that in this live stream as well. Tech for your needs. Once again, hello. Good to see you. Same to you, Max Hong. How are you? Anyway, so there are some great deals. We're going to talk a little bit more about that MacBook Air. I did release the video this week, and it did pretty well. But there are some issues with it, as I pointed out. There were some thermal issues and a couple other things, marketing issues from Apple that were kind of a little shady. And yes, it's right now you're in the East Coast, I take it. So very good. All right, so Dark Obsidian, good to see you as well. I'm going to try to get to everybody, of course. I've noticed we have 61 of you in the live stream. Now, the reason I wanted to do a live stream tonight as opposed to Friday is because of this leaked photo that you're looking at. And what it is besides some, there are a couple of other laptops in there that we'll talk about. But there are 2 laptops that you'll see. You'll see the Dell XPS 15 and you'll see the Dell XPS 17. And the Dell XPS 15, as you know, has been in need of a refresh for quite some time. And I've been saying that for the last couple of years, actually. And it's getting a little bit long in the tooth. There's some thermal issues. The design is good, but it's, again, needed a refresh. And what we're seeing here so far is a positive move, because what it looks like, and according to these photographs and according to other sources, these look very good in terms of moving to a 16:10 aspect ratio. Now, I'm going to switch to my overhead cam. Just give me a second. And the reason I want to switch to it is because I have the Dell XPS 13 here, and we just did the review, and I have the MacBook Air. We'll talk about this in a moment. But when it comes to the Dell XPS 13 that we saw, they did something very interesting, and I'm noticing it on those photographs. They did the same thing, and positive developments as far as the XPS 15 and the 17. Now, as you can see here, and I'll bump up the screen here, you can see that there are even bezels all around through all four corners, all four sides rather. And I like that, micro thin bezels. So if you look at that photo, and I'll put it up in a moment again, you'll see that the same kind of deal is here. What we have here is a 1920 by 1200 display, full HD plus, 13.4 inches. What we're going to see on the Dell XPS 15 is a 16:10 aspect ratio. And if it's a 4K display, we're going to see 3840 by 2400. And that tells us it's going to be a 16:10 aspect ratio. Same goes for the 17-inch version. And I'm really excited about it. Now, as far as when is the release date, I have no idea. But here's what I'm thinking. I'm guessing about May. Now, I haven't heard anything from Dell. I do have contacts at Dell, and they're not going to tell me, at least not yet. And what I'm anticipating, hopefully by May, we can start seeing these devices. And they're very exciting for a few reasons, because we're going to get a Core i9, a 10th gen Core i9, which is a big refresh. Hopefully the thermals will be good. It'll be more powerful than what we have now. And we'll also see upgraded graphics. Now, if you saw my last Dell XPS 15 video, and I could put it on the screen here where we can see the specs. Let me put it here on the screen. And as you can see, it's the Dell XPS 15 7590. Now, I reviewed the OLED version. This is going to be funny. Yes, English is my first language. Yes. XPS 17 in 2011, they did have it many years ago. We'll get to the questions in a moment. But the Dell XPS 15 that I looked at, but I think it was like back in October or something. I don't remember the exact date, but it was the 15.6-inch OLED Infinity Edge display. And this one was a 3840 by 2160. And the new one will have 3840 by 2400. That tells us again that it's a 16:10 aspect ratio. The model I reviewed last year, late last year, was the 9th gen Core i9 9980HK. 8 cores, of course. It can go up to 5 gigahertz. Now, I think the new version will have it, I think, over 5 gigahertz, and I have a graphic we'll show in a minute. But again, 8-core processor. Now, what we saw last year was the NVIDIA GeForce GTX 1650, which was a very good processor, of course, 4 gigabytes of GDDR5 video RAM. But I think we're going to be seeing, if I'm not mistaken, and tell me if I'm wrong, the GTX 1650 Ti. So I think it's going to be a Ti version of that. And again, tell me if I'm wrong. And I think it's going to have 4 gigabytes of RAM, which is a little bit disappointing. I was hoping to see 6 gigabytes. And from what is leaked, it's going to be GDDR6 RAM. So that should be good. Now, the other big news is going to be the fact that you can get up to 128 gigs of RAM. And I hope that's the case, because I know that's what it can support based on what Intel has said. But again, we don't know yet, but these are just leaked information, leaked images as we saw, and that's where we are right now. Now, I reviewed the OLED version. I don't know if this is going to be an OLED display on either the 15 or the 17, but we'll see. Now, according to Cameron, they'll probably drop the OLED. I don't think that they have a laptop-sized OLED panels yet. I know in terms of the 17, are you saying? I'm not sure if you're, because they did have it for the 15. Obviously, I reviewed it. One of the things that, and again, if we look in my video here, let's get to the stats where, and again, the display, and I don't know how great it's going to show.
Samsung.
And There you can see the display brightness when I reviewed it, 441 nits. So that was good. I'm hoping to get even brighter. And if any indication of what we saw with the Dell XPS 13, that refresh model, it's going to be even better, and hopefully. Oh yeah, I meant to say 1660 Ti. Thank you, Weird Ninja. It's 1660 Ti, and that's going to be an upgrade. I can't wait to get that in the studio to benchmark. So thank you for bringing that information to my attention. The XPS 17 is probably going to have the same as the 15. We're just going to see a bigger display. We might get some more ports. Now, from what I understand, the new chipset can support even more PCIe lanes. So instead of being limited to 16 lanes, is what with the current generation, from what I understand, it can support up to 40 lanes. And that's a huge deal because that can enable a lot more devices and so forth. So I'm looking really forward to it. Now, what you're looking at on the screen is my review of the OLED version from last year. You can see some of the benchmarks that I got on that video. The Core i9, and it was the 9980HK. Again, we're going to go to the 10th generation. That was the 9th generation Core i9, and it's an 8-core processor. Okay, so let me... right now we have 77U in the studio. Now, thermals were an issue last year, and that's going to be hopefully corrected. We'll see when Dell releases these new versions. I don't know why I'm wearing sunglasses there. And again, I had some pros and cons that you can see here. Love this, the 4K display, the OLED display. Again, we're going to go to a 16:10 aspect ratio, which I'm really excited about, of course. Hopefully we'll get a performance boost, graphics boost. Webcam, hopefully it'll be better because we're working at home now. So that's going to be, of course, a consideration. Comfortable keyboard and touchpad, and thin and light design. Again, these were all very good. Now, the other question I have is, are they going to have the frost white that we saw in the XPS 13? Because having used the frost white for the last couple of weeks now on the new XPS 13 9300, I have to say I love it because it doesn't show as much fingerprints as the black carbon fiber, and and it just looks better and it stays clean. And that's important because I had tremendous issues with both the XPS 13 and 15 in keeping it clean. Do I think that they'll solder the RAM like the MacBook Pro 16? I hope not. I hope not. I don't remember. Was it soldered in? I think you could upgrade the RAM on the last one, if I'm not mistaken, of course. Apple always solders in their RAM. They don't make their devices upgradable. And that's been a big complaint of mine for years. So as you can see, I love the Dell XPS 15, and here you can see the inside of the 15-inch from last year. And let me just move this cursor out of the way, and let me move the comment out of the way. So as you can see here, the RAM is, of course, upgradable. There are 2 slots there. And, of course, the SSD is upgradable as well. Dual fans. Again, I hope to have improvements in terms of thermals. And it also had a 97 watt-hour battery. Yes, you could upgrade, of course. And of course, I haven't looked at this in a while, by the way. I don't have this unit anymore. It was a review unit. So you mean that you're not streaming on Friday? I am planning on streaming on Friday unless something comes up, but I do plan to make that a regular thing. So stay tuned. Don't worry, Tech, for your needs. I will definitely be doing it. Hopefully. Are the new models going to have the same frame as the current ones? Or are we going to get a design update? Where it looks like from the pictures, a design update. Going from that, again, the display is going to go from a 16:9 to a 16:10 aspect ratio, a welcome change. And it looks like they may be slimming it down as well. I don't know more about that. I did notice there were 2 Thunderbolt 3 ports on both sides. I'm assuming they're both Thunderbolt 3 on both sides. So I think we're going to have at least 4 Thunderbolt 3 ports. I don't think, and from what I saw from the photo, there's a USB-A port. I think that's gone. This can be a big jump for the channel if you can get this into yes, as soon as it comes out. Even buy it if they can to get it sooner. It's worth it. I will be doing it. I know other channels will probably get it before me because they're just bigger. But they were really good with me with the XPS 13, so hopefully they'll give it to me. I'm really hoping. I wonder how much the white keys on the XPS 13 shows the dirt on the keys from the normal use over time. Good question. I don't have, I've had it for 2 weeks. It still looks great. Whatever coating they put on it, it's really worked. And I'm really happy with that, William. Absolutely a MacBook competitor, a MacBook Pro competitor, or MacBook 16. Now, I can't wait to see both the 15-inch and, of course, the 17-inch version. That's going to be pretty interesting. I wanted to give up HP my money, but the Spectre 15 Gem Cut looks dated, and I dislike the color choices. Dell certainly has my full attention. A lot of people feel that way, and one of the big things you're going to notice is it's going to have more power in this than the, but we don't know what the Spectre X360 15-inch, which will be refreshed this year. We should see some hopefully competitive version coming out. Imagine how thin the bezels on the 15 or 17-inch laptop. Just wow. Yeah. I mean, I could, let me bring up the photo again. If I could figure out what I did with it. The photo downloads. Okay, let me just put this down. And okay, and as you can see, by the way, William was asking, you can see how the white has stayed really nice. Let me put this here. Okay, so here you can see the photo. And I'm going to bring the cursor over here. And I'm going to point the cursor to here. If you notice that the bezels, it looks like 2 Thunderbolt 3 ports, I'm assuming, a full-size SD card reader, a 3.5 millimeter headset jack, and then on this side, on the 15-inch version, I'm assuming that might be the same. I don't know between the 15 and the 17. This shows 2 more Thunderbolt 3 ports, and I'm assuming, I'm not sure if that's a Kensington lock port or not. Let me see if I could zoom in. And I'm not sure what that is, but we'll find out hopefully sooner rather than later. Okay, on the white one, they should use the same materials, but black instead of the carbon fiber. And I have the Dell XPS 13-inch. Okay, Tech for Your Needs. Yeah. So this is the, let me switch back. So this is the glass woven fiber on the white version, the frost white. Now it stays clean. I haven't had to do any cleaning whatsoever. I haven't even had to wipe it. I've had it for 2 weeks or so, or whatever the time I've had it, at least about 2 weeks. The touchpad, the glass touchpad, there's no smudges. The black carbon fiber deck would stain very quickly, and it was a pain in the you-know-what to clean. So this is doing a lot of better. Yeah, that might have been the headphone jack, what I was pointing to. Could be the charger. I might have a barrel pin connector. We'll find out. Yeah, I can't wait for the 17-inch also. But getting back to the whether or not they're going to offer a frost white, I don't know. And it would be great if they did, but I don't know if they're going to do it. So through that leaked image, we just see the platinum silver with that black carbon fiber. No, it doesn't have a 3:2 aspect ratio. It looks like, and from the specs that have been leaked, it will be a 16:10. And the reason we know that is because it has a resolution of 3840 by 2400, which equals a 16:10 aspect ratio. If it had a 3840 by 2160, then we would know it's 16:9. It wouldn't be a 3:2. We know that so far. But again, who knows what things can change, but it looks like we're going, of course, to the 16:10 aspect ratio. I heard the speakers move beside the keyboard. Yes, that's another thing that I want to point out. Let me bring up the photo again. And as you can see here, oh, wrong one. Let me go back here. You can notice that there are some speakers over here and over here. And I'm hoping for improved sound. That was one of the issues I had with the Dell XPS 15. Didn't have the greatest sound. Now they made big improvement. They had very good improvements, I think, on the 9300. It's very good. But the XPS 15 is getting a little bit dated in its design, and the speakers can stand to be improved. And I'm hoping they make the same kind of improvement with the XPS 15 and ultimately with the 17. Frost Black. I understand what you were saying. Oh, so getting back to what you're saying, Tech for Your Needs, Frost Black would have been nice, obviously. And we might get that. Again, that means it would be this carbon fiber white that we saw with the so it would be this material with the black, right? You just want it in black, if I'm understanding you correctly. Okay, XPS 15 looks really similar to the Razer Blade. I hope you can compare the 2020 Blade 15 and the 2020 XPS 15. I plan on doing the 2020 XPS 15. Blade is going to be an issue because I've reached out again this week to Razer and I've gotten no response. So I understand what's going on, of course, in the world. So we're going to have to be patient on that. Thank you, Tech for Your Needs. Yes, it would be nice to have black frost. I would actually like that because it would keep it. We wouldn't see the fingerprints. Or at least I don't think it would on the black, but on the white we don't see it. By the way, I'm a big fan now of the Frost White. I really like it. I used to be the reverse. I used to like the platinum silver with the black carbon fiber. Stealthy black metal part included. Yeah, I agree. It would look nice. Now, we don't have any release dates, but from what I'm hearing through back channels, it's supposedly May. So and again, I don't have any firm dates or anything, and it's not like I'm under embargo or anything, but if I am, and obviously I'll let you know I'm under embargo and I cannot tell you, but right now I'm thinking May would be a good time frame if we're already seeing leaks of it. So all right, we have 58 of you in the live stream. Okay. Where was that? Let's see. Next, it would be nice if the 15-inch to 17 models have a full-size 10 key on the keyboard like the HP computers. Yeah, I don't. Well, if you can see from the photograph, and again, I'll put it back up. Yeah, you could sort of make out how the keyboard's going to be. Again, these are just photos. Again, we don't have anything official from Dell, so we'll have to see. The Spectre X3 is so much less powerful, and I'm returning it. It's not that less. It is less powerful in some regards, but it's a great laptop. Don't get me wrong. I love the Spectre X360. I'm very anxious to see what HP has with the refresh here for 2020. No problem. All right. Hope the 15 and the 17 speakers are better like those on the MacBook speakers. Now, MacBook has some excellent speakers, especially in the Pro line. The Air, which I just reviewed, has very good speakers also. They really know how to make a couple of really good things. They know how to make a great touchpad, and they know how to make great speakers, whether it be even on the iPads or on the MacBook line. Apple certainly knows what they're doing. Okay. So does the 13? So the 13 doesn't charge via USB-C. Oh no, it does. This David, the 13, this one, the one I reviewed, the XPS 13, definitely does charge USB. In fact, that's the only way you can charge because it doesn't have a charging port other than a USB Thunderbolt 3 port. It has two Thunderbolt 3 ports. Have you talked about thermal throttling? For which device? Because these will thermal throttle, but I don't know of the new leaked XPS 15 or 17. That's going to be an interesting question. How are you, Alan, from Thailand? Got it, William. Good. Okay. So right now we have 62 of you in the live stream. We're streaming live on YouTube. We're streaming live on Amazon. And if you're watching me on Amazon, I do have links below. I talk a couple of laptops we've already been talking about. Of course, the current model Dell XPS 15 is in the link below. The HP Spectre X360 15-inch in the link below. We've talked about the Apple MacBook Air, which I just reviewed this week, which is still getting good views as we're talking. And of course, other laptops that I've talked about, including the Dell XPS 13. Hi, Sina. How are you? The leak low key was intentional, just like the hype. Yeah, I mean, the companies do that. It's a great marketing technique. Apple does it. They all do it. But it gets us excited. It gets us talking. It gets me to do a live stream on a Tuesday night here in Las Vegas. So I guess it worked. Okay. Hopefully, the AC charging brick is thin and light. There needs to be additional innovation there to help reduce bulk. If it's any indication, of course, with the XPS 13, it has a really thin, portable, compact charger. Hopefully, they'll be able to reduce the size of the charger this year as well. We'll see. Hey, what's up, Chandrakant Patel? Design looks slick. I definitely agree. Like it a lot. I'm excited about this one. I don't think, yeah, it's not a mechanical keyboard. Of course, it would be kind of interesting. These are thin and light, 15-inch and a 17-inch laptop. Of course, I don't expect that, but I do hopefully get some improvements on the keyboard as well. That would be really nice as well. Cameron Bosch is asking MacBook Pro 13, 14, 2020. I would wait for the 14-inch. We're expecting that to come, hopefully sooner rather than later. But again, with the current situation in the world, we don't know when they're going to release it. But hopefully, I personally think they've already have it ready, and it's probably ready to go. But again, current situation might not be ideal to release it at this moment. We'll see. Yeah, I'm hoping it's not the maglev keyboard. Remember, I reviewed the Dell XPS 15 2-in-1 with the maglev keyboard, and that was just not great. And I didn't like the maglev keyboard on the 2-in-1 either. That was not great. So I'm so happy when the XPS 13 the 9300, which I just reviewed for 2020, has a really, really nice keyboard, nice improvements. Do you wish other companies like HP and Razer would adopt taller displays like 16:10 and 3:2? Absolutely. I think 16:9 is starting. Well, I think this might be the start of the move away from the 16:9 aspect ratio. 16:9 is good if you're going to consume media. But if you're doing any kind of productivity work, if you're doing any kind of web browsing, 16:10 is so much better. 3:2 is so much better. Taller displays, you get more screen real estate. Now, I think 16:10, and I've mentioned this in the past, I think 16:10 is the ideal sweet spot. That is a nice blend that allows you to do productivity work, Microsoft Office, email, web browsing, and then you can consume media. There will be a couple of black bars on the top and the bottom, but nothing terrible. Apple probably doesn't want to encourage the typical launch lines at their stores. That might be one of the reasons, but if they're going to release it, they're going to do it like they did the MacBook Air, I think, at this point. They're going to just do online only, and you're going to have to deliver it to you because of the current situation. So we'll see. 16:10 would work with gaming. Again, that's going to be the issue for some people because it's going to have black bars, and I don't know if these games are optimized for 16:10, so that might be one of the issues. Now, when I do get one of these into the studio, or both, I expect to get both the 15 and the 17 at some point. When they get released, I will obviously test the gaming and see how that is. I agree, Chandrakant. I think the 16:10 to me is the best of both worlds. Does the XPS 17 have thermal issues? Well, we don't know. It hasn't been released yet. So once we do get one in, then we will know. Now, the RAM, from what I'm understanding, and again, this is not an official statement from Dell, but from what I understand, the chipset can support up to 128 gigs of RAM at least on the 15 and on the 17. So that would be fantastic because people who are doing 4K video, it'd be fantastic, although it might be overkill. But if you're doing 6K and 8K video editing, then you're going to want 128. And from what I'm understanding, that might be the amount you can put into this. Actually, Fan, I have a gaming laptop that Lenovo sent over, a Legion, that's a 17-inch. I don't want to say too much yet, but I will be dropping a video on that in the next week. So stay tuned. I did receive a gaming laptop. And Cameron agrees with drum key vocals. I really like how you're managing this live stream, engaging with your viewers. You got a new subscriber. Oh, I'm glad. Last week we hit the 80,000 subscriber mark on the live stream. By the way, that was fantastic. I know some of you were here with me when we got it, and we've gotten over 600 plus since then. And That was a lot of fun, by the way, to hit that nice milestone with you guys. That was really something special to me. And I hope to be able to do it when we hit 90, when we hit 100, and then keep going, of course. Can you suggest a laptop for mainly Microsoft Office use like Excel? Thank you and stay safe. Thank you, Evoc1974. Good to see you again. You were here in the last stream. I know that. For Microsoft Office, well, all these laptops that I've been reviewing lately can run Office perfectly. Even the MacBook Air, the Dell XPS 13, the HP Spectre X360, they all run Office very well. So no, you could even run Office on the Samsung Galaxy, the Book S that I reviewed with the Snapdragon 8CX, which is that mobile processor, Windows on ARM. Is the XPS 17 better than the HP ZBook? Good question, Samiula Sabir. You know, I just reviewed, of course, the 15-inch HP ZBook G6, or the 15 G6. And I got to tell you, man, I was so blown away by that laptop. I had just had to send it back to HP, but reluctantly, I really liked it. I liked its upgradability. And that's really geared not so much for gaming, as I mentioned, but it's more towards mobile professionals that need to do video editing, need to do medical imaging, need to do CAD work if you're an architect. So you understand it gives you that extra horsepower for those processor and graphics intensive tasks. Does the XPS 17 have better speakers than the MacBook Pro 16? We don't know. That's going to be, but we do know that they are on top firing speakers on both sides of the keyboard. So you get one grill and then one grill. So you see one here and then one there. Right now we have 65 of you in the live stream. Valente Espinoza, I really like your videos. Thank you. You have an excellent style for reviewing, clear, concise information. Sounds good, my friend. You've got yourself a new subscriber. So that's 2 new subscribers. Fantastic. Although I usually lose some subscribers, but last couple of live streams we've been really doing great. The one we did last week got over total. We got almost 100 people at one point in the live stream. At one point, but it did, I think, 3,400 views, which is very good for my channel for a live stream. And the week before, we got over 5,000 views. So again, a lot of interest right now, a lot of growth on the channel. Everything is doing great. Another new subscriber. Thank you. I appreciate, my friend. And again, I have a lot of good stuff on the way. So stay tuned. I've been trying to hammer them out as fast as possible. But again, my reviews take time. What category of laptops do Dell Latitude 9510 and Lenovo ThinkPad Extreme Gen 2 fall in? And please, would you tell us some more examples of such laptops from other brands? Okay, Silver Ghost, good question. The Latitude 9510, by the way, I got a chance to play with a little bit back in January here in Las Vegas at CES 2020, and I came away very impressed with it. And I believe that's the one you're seeing in the picture over here, if I'm not mistaken, and this might be it open here. So that's the 9510. Now, you know, if you watch my channel, I love the ThinkPad Extreme Gen 2, the Gen 1 to the Gen 2. I love both of them. Great laptops. Again, more towards the professionals, more towards those who need that horsepower, but want to be mobile. I'm expecting big things out of Gen 3. Now, HP has the ZBook line we talked about. They're more mobile workstations. We know Dell has the Precision 5540 that I've reviewed, which is basically a Dell XPS 15 on the outside. Same material, same chassis, but with workstation innards to give you a little bit more horsepower for those professionals that need it. So those are the kind of categories that fits in. And again, I do a lot of Latitude laptops. Also, I got a good contact Dell with the Latitude line as I do with the XPS line. So that's looking good. Waris Amir Muhammad says, hi, Andrew. Would love to see a big XPS laptop with a Ryzen 4000H class series APUs. Yes, I agree. That would be great. But right now, I don't have any laptop. I'm which segues into what I wanted to say is that I'm hoping to get the Asus Zephyrus laptop in running the Ryzen hopefully soon. Any opinion about the Surface Neo or Duo? Yes, Yesaya. I'm highly anticipating these devices. I'm a big dual screen person. I like the foldables. I like the devices that have two screens like those will have. I like that category, and I look forward to it. And I think we hopefully will see it once things settle down right now in the world and get back on track. And hopefully that will be released on time. Is your opinion, in your opinion, which one offers more value overall, the current XPS 15 or the P1 Gen 2? Good question, Saeed. I like the P1 Gen 2, and the reason I like it over the current XPS 15, which I like also, is because the P1 Gen 2 has a better keyboard, it has the track point, which I like. I'm a big fan of that, and has some good display options as well. And I love the look on the P1 Gen 2, which is, again, very similar, or it's basically the same chassis, same exterior as the X1 Extreme Gen 2. But again, I reviewed both of them late last year, so if you want to check it out, go to my channel, revisit that if you want to. Again, I'm expecting nice refreshes on both this year, so stay tuned. But good question. Yeah, I think I like the P1. That's one of my favorites. Would you expect Windows Hello in this, correct? We should expect it. I agree. I think we will see Windows Hello. They did it on the XPS 13. I expect it on the infrared camera on the XPS 15 and 17. I'd be shocked if they didn't do it. I believe it was available in the 13. Yes, it is available in the 13, which one you see here. And they were able to put a infrared camera on the top. Works well. Not a very good camera, to be perfectly frank, but it's there, and I appreciate they put it in the proper placement as opposed to down below, which is the of course up your nose chin cam that we don't like. But yeah, they were able to do it. Where in God's good name is Microsoft hiding the Surface Book 3? I think they have it ready. I just think they have delayed things right now because of the current situation in the world. I don't want to get demonetized, so I'm not going to say what it is, but I think we all know what it is. So we're waiting. I can't wait because I'm a huge fan, of course, of the Surface Book 2, the original Surface Book, which I still have here somewhere, and then I have the Surface Book 2, and I'm looking forward to testing out the Surface Book 3. I'm a big fan. Fan is asking, does the ZBook 15 G6 have a better track point? The ZBook has a very good track point. I would say it's on par with the ThinkPad line, which you would find, say, in something like the P1 Gen 2. So they're both good. I can't say one is better than the other. They both work very well. It's very precision oriented, very responsive, and I'm really happy with both. No problem, drum, vocals, keys. And again, thank you for subscribing. I'm happy you're part of the team here. All right, so we've got 69 of you. Just give me a second. I'm going to bump up the screen here for a second. I was looking for something here, and I'm trying to find it, but I must have left it downstairs. Okay, so let me bring it back down. Okay. Do you recommend the Dell XPS 15 or the Apple Air? And let me bring in the Apple Air just so we can talk about it a little bit. So this is the 2020 MacBook Air. I dropped my video this week on the review a couple of days ago, and it's gotten, I think, close to 20,000 views already. It's looking good. It's an honest, I called it the honest review. What did I call it? Whatever I called it, it was honest. I gave you my true feelings of it. I like it. It's a nice device, but Apple missed the boat on a couple of key things. The thermals are not the best on this, and they were a little bit deceptive about some of the upgrades that they made. Like they said that it had a 25% volume increase, double the base. But if you read the fine print, it's really, when you compare it to the 2 generations ago in the old MacBook Air. So they were being a little bit disingenuous, and I don't like that kind of marketing tactics, and I'm not really happy with that. So to answer your question, I would go with the Dell XPS 15 versus the Air. Now, these are two different devices. This is a 13-inch device. Obviously, the Dell XPS 15 is a much bigger device that has more power. So when you're asking me which would I recommend, Moeed, I would go with the XPS 15, but again, depending on what you're looking for. If you want a 13-inch device versus the Air, then I would go with this one, which is the Dell XPS 13. And that's this one, the latest version. Hope that answered your question. Silver Ghost is asking, do you think or do you have any information related on laptop sales going up since February due to the ongoing situation in the world? And do you think it might have affected laptop prices to go up or down? Very good question, Silver Ghost. I don't have any specific information. From what I understand, people are working from home, so they are buying tech. And I noticed this on my affiliate sales at Amazon, at HP, on a Lenovo. So I am noticing people are buying not so much the high price, high ticket items, but the more mid-level, I would say. So yeah, I'm seeing people buying laptops because I think more people are now working from home. They need to have a good laptop or something to use to video conference and so forth, which leads me, Silver Ghost, to the next point. But we'll talk about webcams and so forth in a moment. But to answer your question, I do think that at some way it has affected it. In the short run, it might have given it a little boost, but I think in the long run it will suffer because I think some manufacturers are not going to be able to supply the supply chain like they could before because people are now at home. Their workers are not coming to work; they're not at full capacity. So again, it's a work in progress, and it remains to be seen. So we'll see how that will all play out. Now, having said that, what we have noticed is certain kinds of devices are selling out like hotcakes, and things like webcams, like the Logitech C920 or 30, whatever it is, which would normally go for I think less than $100, is now going for like $300-400 on Amazon, which is ridiculous. So certain items are going to be hot items, some are not. So it just depends what is the demand and what is the supply, and therefore that's going to dictate what people are buying. All right, we're at 41 minutes, 70 of you in the live stream. Can you do a comparison between the Surface Laptop 3, Surface Pro 7, and the Surface Pro X, Fan? Yes, I can do that at some point. And I'm planning on some comparison videos coming, by the way. But to me, though, Fan, the Surface Laptop 3, they're all different devices. The Surface Laptop 3 is, of course, a clamshell laptop, and I've compared that to other two-in-ones, actually. The Surface Pro 7, of course, has the kickstand, and it's a detachable. And then again, the same for the Surface Pro X, which is using Windows and ARM, which is a mobile processor, the Snapdragon 8CX. So it's an interesting comparison, but I think they're serving very different purposes. But that might be an interesting idea. We'll see. The Latitude 7220 trackpad is so bad. Yeah, that was my biggest complaint of the 7220, and that was the you're talking about the rugged extreme that I did, which got like no views. You might have been one of the only ones potentially who saw it, which I really liked. It was a very different kind of device. It's good. It's actually a great tablet / two-in-one for the apocalypse, like right now. So the end times, but I'm kidding. But the bottom line is, yeah, the trackpad was pretty terrible, I got to admit. All right. So we just talked about that. Okay. So this week I dropped this laptop review, the Apple MacBook Air, and I have mixed feelings. I like it. I gave it a score of 86%. And I think they did some really good improvements, especially when it comes to and then there's another issue. Look, I'm trying to log in with my Touch ID. It's not letting me. I'm not going to put my password. But what they did is they improved the keyboard. This is the Magic Keyboard. I don't know what's so magical about it, but it's definitely an improvement over the Butterfly keyboard from last year. The other improvements is, of course, they made the trackpad 17% bigger, and they also made some other minor improvements. But the biggest one, of course, is going to be the trackpad, the keyboard. Now, The processor is better than it was last time. They're not using the Y processor like they did in the 2018 version. They're now using the 10th generation Ice Lake processors. Now, here's the kicker. And as I mentioned in my review, the i3 is not the one you should get. Now, some people have commented on the video. They bought the i3. They're perfectly happy. And as I stated in the video, the i3 is good for basic tasks. It'll do the job pretty well. It's when you go up to the Core i5, which is a quad-core CPU as opposed to the dual-core, you're going to notice, especially when you're doing multitasking, when you're doing other multi-threaded kind of tasks, you will see that boost in performance, and it is significant. So for that $100 difference, it doesn't pay not to get, if you can do it, of course, it doesn't pay not to get the i5. Get the i5. And the reason, and another reason, you also get Iris Plus graphics that are better than the Iris Plus graphics that you'd find in that dual core i3. So I hope I conveyed that message to you of what my personal recommendation is. Go for the Core i5. Now, having said that, now the question then becomes is, do you go for that 13-inch MacBook Pro? Now, that's an issue because for a similar amount of money, a little bit more, you're getting an 8th generation CPU, not a 10th generation like you get on the Air. And it has the butterfly keyboard, as I mentioned. So again, I wouldn't go for the MacBook Pro 13 as it is right now. But if they do refresh it this year, which we're anticipating they do, and if they do go to a 14-inch, which we're hoping they will, and it's looking like that, then that's the route I would go over the Air, because you get a lot more power and it's going to have more ports. It's going to be better, in my opinion. All right, so PGI Cruiser saying, like your live stream style, most tech live streams that I've listened to are boring. Thank you for your reviews, always informative. Well, thank you, PGI Cruiser. That means a lot. I've been trying to improve these live streams, and they seem to be getting better, and they seem to be becoming more popular. We got 68 of you in the live stream. Let's do a quick check of subscribers, because we did that last week, and it was working out pretty well. So right now we're at, let's see here. We're at 80,688. So we're really starting to make some headway here. I want to get to 100,000 this year, hopefully. So I'm really hoping that we keep this pace going. We've gained about 3,000 subscribers in the last 2.5 weeks, which is tremendous. During that time, I released my videos on the XPS 13 9300, which is right here. I released my video on the 2020 MacBook Air, which is right here. I did an Asus ZenBook 14, which I talked about last week, of course, a little bit. And I did a monitor video that I had actually filmed and edited about a month ago, but it was out of stock, so I didn't want to release it until it was back in stock. And that's the monitor video I released today from Lapao. 50, and I'm using it right now, by the way, so I can't show it to you, but it's a 15.6-inch portable monitor under $200. That's really, really fantastic. I'm really happy with it. Alan Seal, great review on the HP 17T, but I can't get it in Thailand. Can you recommend something as good? Yeah, that's a very interesting laptop. The NV17T. It has an optical drive, believe it, a DVD writer. Can you believe that? It's not even Blu-ray, by the way. Very odd laptop. Although I did like the screen real estate. I liked the display. It was very good. And I liked the keyboard a lot on that. It was a really nice laptop. As far as getting back to your question, Alan, can I recommend something as good? 17 inches is a kind of an interesting category. And what I liked about the Envy was its price to value ratio. I think that came in around 1,100 US. There's not too many that are 17 inches that compete on that price point. Unless you really bump up to some gaming laptop, and it's going to be a lot more expensive. I do have a 17-inch gaming laptop from Legion. I will be reviewing that this week. The Air 2019 has inverted T arrow keys. Yeah, so they changed the. I don't have it in front of me, but this is the 2020, and if you look at the arrow keys are up and down. You're saying they've been inverted. Okay. I don't remember that off the top of my head, but I'll take your word for it, Than. Well, glad you liked the show, David. I think HP just announced the NV17 without the DVD drive. I saw the same thing, Waris, and it also has a 10th generation processor. I think it's the same one that I reviewed, but it would be great without the DVD. And in fact, to me, that's a waste of space. I would have preferred more battery on that. In fact, I was kind of surprised the battery was so small for a 17-inch laptop. They used a pretty small battery, and that space could have been used, I think, for a bigger battery to give you a little bit better battery life. Although battery life, I guess, wasn't good on that, if I remember correctly. Yeah, no DVD, hopefully. We'll see. Samsung is the poor man's Surface, and the Flex is going to get the phone sales up. That Pen Index is good selling point. Yes. I do, by the way, and I don't know if you guys want to see it, I have that red Chromebook on the way to the studio for review. So I'm not getting good reaction from the Chromebooks, but that red is gorgeous, although I hear the battery life is atrocious. We'll see. Could make for an interesting video. Let me know what you think. Ran out of 50 minutes on the live stream, 77 you. What's the difference between the Dell Latitude and the Precision line? Good question. Regardless of which brand laptop would you recommend, considering all ports, Core i9, 16 to 10, better thermal management? Okay. Silver Ghost is asking some really good questions tonight. The Latitude line is their business line. And correct me if you think I'm wrong. Again, it's not very clear, but this is what I think they are. The Latitude line is more business focused. The Precision line is more professional. And when I say that, more like creatives, video editors. So like when we see the Precision 5540, that's more towards the professionals. When I say professionals, like artists, creative people, medical imaging people, architects. The Dell Latitude is the business line, more like the ThinkPad that you'd find with Lenovo. That's going to be their business line. And that's the way I look at it. And I think that's how they market it. Again, people might disagree with me, and that's fine, but that's the way I perceive it. Now, as far as which laptop I would recommend, considering all ports, Core i9, 16 to 10, best thermal management, that HP ZBook 15G6 hit a lot of the points that I like. Upgradability is a breeze with that. Plenty of options when it comes to RAM and storage. Plenty, but it doesn't have the 16 to 10 aspect ratio, so that might be a deal breaker. I'm really holding out to see, well, what is the Dell XPS 15 refresh, the one we're talking about tonight, and the Dell XPS 17, which I'm really looking forward to taking a look at, and the thermal management. So I think Silver Ghost, we need to wait and see. A lot of good stuff is coming. So right now, we can't make any judgments on that yet. Thanks, Cameron. I think you agree with me on that. Again, these brands aren't so clear on how they're marketing, and they cross market. They sort of cross some lines sometimes. I mean, they took basically in the Precision line, the 5540 that I reviewed, that mobile workstation, it's basically the XPS 15 that we all know and love, and made it into a workstation in the same chassis. And that's basically what they did. They took that and they put in a workstation innards. So yeah. So David, I have the Chromebook on the way, and the LG, by the way, I don't have. LG doesn't send me anything. I've met with them at CES. I've emailed and talked with them, and they still don't send me anything, and I don't know why. It would be a good fit on the channel. I'm going to keep reaching out. Same thing goes for Razer. Same thing goes to the other brands that I don't work with yet. The brands I'm working with right now are Dell, HP, Lenovo, Samsung, Asus, and Huawei, and more. But Huawei's disappeared on me. I don't know what's going on with them. Thank you for the super chat from Cameron Bosch. I appreciate that. And everybody, if you want to do a super chat, that really helps out the channel, but not necessary. But I do appreciate it. And the best way to support the channel is not money. Money's, of course, always helps, but hit the like button. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you share the video when you can. And that certainly helps. And I appreciate that, Cameron, for the nice super chat. I appreciate it. Alienware 51M. Oh, again, another one that I'm trying to get Dell to send me because they're with, they own Alienware. That one I'm actually pretty interested in as well, Fan. So good that you brought that up. PGI Cruisers asking any news on a 2-in-1 for LG. Graham, and like I said, LG's not returning my call, so to speak. rather than clamp. So any other lightweight 16 to 10, 17 upgradable 2-in-1. Let me look into that, and let me try to reach out once again to LG to see what we can come up with, because I'm really not happy with the fact that, I'm doing really well with all these other brands. They could do the same on my channel. I just want to be able to do it. So let's see. Yes, Chandler, that is correct. Precision is workstation capable of the Xeon and Quadro's GPUs, the Xeon processors, Quadro GPUs. My allergies, by the way, so are acting up. The Legion Y740S. I have a Legion laptop coming, so I'm not going to say much more about that. But stay tuned. I'm going to be doing a Legion laptop. Yes, Cameron is correct. Huawei lost their Android license due to the U.S. government. Also, you're welcome for the super chat. I appreciate that. Yeah, so Huawei, I think the PR company that I was dealing with in the United States, they don't really have much to do, I guess, because of what's going on between the United States government and Huawei. So I think that's a shame, because, as you know, I love Huawei phones. I use the Huawei Mate 20X to this day. It's still one of my favorite phones, of course. And I love the Huawei MateBook Pro X. Was it the Huawei MateBook Pro X? And I would love to review the refreshed one, but again, they're not sending them to me, and I'm not going out of pocket right now. No problem, Chike. Thanks for answering my MacBook 16 comment. Appreciate it. Love your content. Thanks, Chike Coleman. Appreciate your support, of course. We're right now at 56 minutes into the live stream. We got 66 of you. If you're watching me on Amazon, I listed some really good deals that I believe are good for the current Dell XPS 15, the HP Spectre X360 15, the Dell XPS 13, the MacBook Air 2020. All can be had if you go to the carousel below. Yeah, Huawei puts heat in competition. Sadly, I hate the lack of Google Apps, which is a serious issue. Absolutely. But you know what? I give Huawei credit for trying. They could have given up, but they didn't. They're making their own store, and people seem to like it. The P4, the Huawei Mate P40, no, the P40 that just was released looks like a great device. I'd love to review it, but again, they haven't sent it to me. And again, without the Google Apps, it's going to be a uphill climb for sure. LG updates their laptops like 9 to 11 months. Well, that's good. Well, that could be good or bad, depending on what schedule you're on. So I have a couple of things coming up. We just got through a very busy period on the channel. Of course, I just finished my MacBook Air review, the Dell XPS 13. Now, I'm going to do these head-to-head because I know a lot of you wanted that. Again, I don't think it's the most fair comparison between these two, because I think the XPS 13 competes directly more with the MacBook Pro 13 rather than the MacBook Air. So, but again, you want to see it. It's new. Do you want me to get the new iPad Pro? I have the 2018 iPad Pro. Do you want me to compare that to the 2020 MacBook Air? That might be more of a comparison at this point. People are doing more things with the iPad Pro. They're able to edit video. I never felt comfortable doing it, but apparently you can do it more and more with each upgrade. So we'll see. Huawei giving good features. Huawei has some great features. I like their cameras. I like the way they implement things. I like their hardware. Problem is they don't have Google Apps right now. They're trying, and I got to give them credit, but the lack of services is going to be an issue for them. And there are workarounds, but most people are not like us. We're like geek tech people, but people who are not like us are not going to know how to get workarounds or sideload or figure a way to get Google Apps to work on it. So Surface Pro 8 this year, I am hoping, Tom, with Microsoft, I think they're going to release things. They're not going to have any events, which I was, by the way, supposed to go to the next Surface event. I didn't want to say anything, but now it's not happening. It's going to be online, and it's kind of disappointing. I was kind of looking forward to it. My reviews of the Surface products have gotten millions of views if you add them up. I did the Surface Pro 6. It got over 200,000, I think, 250,000. The Surface Pro 7, I think you only got about 70,000, but it was very good, positive vibes on that one. The Surface Pro X got 20,000, but then I had the Surface Laptop 3, which I did my long-term review, got over 150,000 in like about a couple of weeks. All right, so Justice Minaya is asking, which laptop do you recommend, the ThinkPad T490 or the Dell XPS 13 for a student? The T490 is a little bit more thick, has a great keyboard. There is a T490S, by the way, but it's not going to be as ports and all that. It's going to be better on the T490. The Dell XPS 13 is pretty sleek for a student. This is a little bit more flashy. It just depends on what you're looking for. I love the XPS 13. I think it's a great deal if you can afford it, of course. For a student, it might be a little too expensive, but the ThinkPads, they go on sale, of course. It's a tough decision. More ports on the T490, less ports on the XPS 13, better display, in my opinion, on the XPS 13. So it's just a matter of what you're looking for. Chike says he bought the MacBook 16 and should have waited for the Surface Book 3. We don't know. I mean, the Surface Book 3 has not been released. The MacBook 16 has gotten some really good reviews, of course. A lot of improvements on that regard. We don't know what the Surface Book 3 is going to have, so I can't answer that. But hopefully sooner rather than later, we'll find out. Yeah, they took away some ports, Cameron, on this latest version. We lost a USB-C port that we had an extra USB-C port on the last version. They do have the two Thunderbolt 3s, one on each side, and then just the headphone jack. Again, moving towards that Apple way of thinking, and I'm not crazy about it, but having said that, it does have a micro SD card slot that MacBook Air does not, so we still have that. But it would have been nice to have an extra port in there. Maybe even a USB-A port would have been nice. But again, that's a legacy port at this point. I think we've all moved to the USB-C for the most part. Put the Frost White on the XPS 13 and 17. I agree. Hopefully Dell will be listening. Silver Ghost says, name your top 5 laptops with the best speakers on the market. Top 5. Okay, this is going to be tough. I would say MacBook Pro 16, of course. Who had good speakers? Oh, the Lenovo Yoga C940 with its soundbar is very good. The Dell XPS 13 is very good. HP has some pretty nice speakers on the X360, but not quite as good as the MacBook. But I would put that up there. They're pretty good. Those are the ones that come to mind. I'm sure there'll be others that will come to my mind once I start thinking about it. But those, I think the MacBook takes the cake as far as the best. MacBook Pro, top one, but it's quieter than the 15-inch MacBook Pro, so the MacBook 16. Yep, I agree. Why not three to four USB-C ports on the Dell XPS 13? I think it's space constraints. I think they've made it so thin at this point. I mean, we lost one. We had it last year. So we have one on here. And then we have one over here. They could have put another port in. I didn't think they needed to take that away. But again, battery considerations, they have a 52 watt-hour battery. I don't know. A lot goes into the engineering of these things. So we'll have to see. When is thin too thin? What a great question. And you're right. And that's a good point. And Apple is guilty of this. And I think Dell is starting to be guilty of this. I don't mind having an extra millimeter on the laptop if it means more battery life. It means having another port. Don't take away functionality for the sake of aesthetics. And I agree. When is thin too thin? We're getting to that point where if Dell starts acting like this is not good. But having said that, it's not so much of an issue for me personally because I use these on the go. Well, when we were on the go, when we were able to leave the house and so forth. But under normal circumstances, this would be my grab and go kind of laptop. So I'm not really connecting that many peripherals at one point, but people like to dock. And there are Thunderbolt 3 docks that you can put on your desk. And when you're coming back when you're out and about and you're coming back to the office, home office, just sit it down, dock it, and boom, you got a whole array of ports waiting for you. So, I love Razer laptops. I'm trying to get a hold of the PR person, but he doesn't return my emails. I want to review their laptops. It's about time we get back to them. I used to buy them, but it got too expensive and I was taking a loss, so I couldn't do it. I can't do it right now. Fan is saying $1,800, have 4 Thunderbolt 3s instead of 2 on the $1,300. Yeah, that's not a bad suggestion if you're willing to pay more, but then that's playing the Apple game, right? Didn't Apple do that with the MacBook Pro for the 13-inch? If you bought the base model, you got 2 Thunderbolt 3 ports, and then if you went to the higher end models of that same laptop, they gave you those 2 ports. So I think that's kind of shitty on their part, but you know. All right. I really don't like thin laptops. They sacrifice durability, ports, thermal management, and have coil whine. Yeah, I agree 100%. I happen to like thin and light as a secondary device, but I do agree with you. Speaking of thermal, decent on the Dell, not great because it is so thin and light, but better than the MacBook Air. Now, as far as coil whine, I know that's been an issue of the XPS 13 in the past. I have not had any coil whine on this laptop on my unit. That's not to say it doesn't exist, and I get this question asked every day. I haven't heard any other reviewers of this particular laptop, the 9300, of having coil whine. So I think they might have solved it, but again, I could be wrong. All right, this is a very good question by Cameron, who's asking some great questions. Would you suggest the Dell XPS 13 or the ThinkPad X1 Carbon? Ooh, this is a tough one. I want to see what the X1 Carbon 8th Gen has to offer. I know they just upgraded the internals of it, but I think it's the same exterior from last year. So I would call it a minor upgrade, not a revolutionary upgrade. I want to get my hands on it first, or the next generation one for this year, the 8th Gen, before I can make a comment. Now, I love the XPS 13. I like what they did with it. A couple of things I didn't like, but for the most part, it's my favorite laptop so far of 2020. But again, I love the X1 Carbon, but I need to see the refreshed model because I absolutely love the 7th Gen, but I want to see what their follow-up is going to be before I can tell you which one is better. Why is it that laptops refuse to have bigger batteries like the XPS and MacBook 16? Batteries are, that's an interesting question. And the battery technology has not improved at the rate like processor improvements, as display improvements over the years. Battery technology has lagged behind, and we're in desperate need of a revamp of the technology in batteries because we really haven't seen the big leap like we saw in the other areas, the other facets of the laptop, like the display, like the processor. I want to see big battery improvements in tech. So one of the reasons they don't, again, everything is, when you're talking about laptops, you're talking about a lot of considerations. You're talking about portability, weight, height, size of it in total. It's all going to play into this. And the battery is going to take up a lot of space as well. So that's why when I say we need to see advances in battery technology, that's what I mean, because it's all going to be a blend of all the sums, all the parts have to equal in this. In other words, it all will lead to the overall product. So we'll see. The graphite lithium batteries are coming. I hope something's coming that really breaks this barrier. I want to charge my laptop once a week. That's my dream, or not even once a week, once a month. I know it sounds crazy, but I think we can do it if we have the right technology. How long is this live stream? Right now it's at 1 hour and 8 minutes. I usually go for about an hour, depending on how things go. Last week we went about a 1:45 or so. Just depends on how things are going. Right now I have 60 of you in the live stream. So where are we right now? So let me bring up the graphic that I had earlier. So we're now looking at this. This is the leaked photo of the Dell XPS 15 and 17. And I'm thinking that I'm excited. And a couple of reasons, as I mentioned, 16:10 aspect ratio for the displays, They're now going with equal bezels around the four corners of the four sides, rather. You no longer have that chin on the bottom that we saw in the current XPS 15. I like the fact that we're going to go to an XPS 17 version as well, so even more screen real estate with those thin bezels. It's going to be some pretty interesting stuff. I think it's going to be the 1660 Ti, if I'm not mistaken. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong. You know who has a good video on this is Tally Ho Tech did a really good overview of what we're going to expect with the 15 and the 17. I would check it out. I'll put it in the show notes after I'm done. Some 15-inch laptops have the 2070. Yeah, I mean, they're starting to be able to get these more powerful cards in there. But again, thermals are going to be the issue, of course. Razer Blade being one of them. It's still going to take the same amount of space. Yeah. And again, how they're going to be able to do the thermals is going to be the determining factor here. I'm going to start doing more gaming stuff. I have a gaming laptop from Lenovo they sent me this week. I still got to unbox it and get it done. Cooling is going to be the key issue. And that's the biggest problem I have with the MacBook Air. So I didn't think the fans, I don't think they did a good job at all. And I think they did that on purpose so people would go to the MacBook Pro. I really believe that. What got you started in tech? Oh, that's a good question. I've loved tech since I was a kid, and I don't want to date myself. Then you'll really think I'm ancient. But I actually, my first computer was, I'm not kidding, a Macintosh SE30. So that should date me pretty well. The Macintosh SE30, I'll never forget it. It was upgraded. It had 80 megabyte hard drive. And I don't remember how much RAM it had. It was like nothing compared to nowadays. And I still remember it with such fondness. It was the best. It was great. But that was a long time ago. That's like 30 years ago. But that was what started me. I had a Commodore 64 at one point. I had all the good stuff. Yeah. Macintosh SE30. It's so funny. I just saw a video the other day of somebody restoring one. I forgot who that channel is. It's actually a really good video. Wish I remember his name, but he did a fantastic job finding the parts and he restored it. And it was brand new. It's pretty amazing. So Chike's first computer was an Apple eMate 300. Oh my God. I remember that. Yeah, it's Apple was pretty interesting company back then. That's for sure. I think when Steve Jobs left and then came back, but when the time he left, they really tried a lot of different stuff. And once he came back, he just scrapped everything. He says, look, we're going to do the iMac. We're going to do 3 products. That's it. And then that's what he did. Ever had a Toshiba? I did many years ago. I had the Dynabook something. Can't remember the model, but it was like a really portable laptop. What was it? The I can't remember it was like from Japan. I had to import it. And in fact, I used a company I used to love called Dynamism, and they were great. I don't know if anybody remembers. I'm really dating myself now. The number one worst laptops from Dell from 2004 to Dell from 2004 to 2006. Dell had some pretty bad, they went through a pretty bad period there. I remember that. Pentium 3. I remember we used to think, oh, Pentium. Yeah, it was pretty interesting times back then. And it was a lot of fun. The internet, when I grew up, I remember the first time I heard of the internet was when I was in university. And they said, I was in a class and it was in Queens College in New York. And I was sitting in a class. I was about 18 years old. And they said, we're going to do something called electronic mail. And I said to myself, well, why would anybody want to send a message like this? This is ridiculous. And I'll never forget when the assignment was to send an email, and we take for granted nowadays, but it was like a big deal. I'm like, well, that's kind of weird. Why would I want to send an email? But you didn't realize it at the time what things were doing. Yeah, dude, you're getting a Dell. So yeah, it was, yeah. So there was I have a lot of fond memories. Now, I've always liked portables. I've had Palm Pilots. I've had Pocket PCs. I've had the iPac. I don't know if you remember the HP, or before that was Compact. the iPack. You used to get those little sleds. You could put it in like the different modules. So if you wanted internet service, but it was so slow, it was ridiculous. And it was pretty advanced for the time. And I kind of loved it at the time. That's what got me into it. I used to watch, was it Tech TV? Do you know Leo Laporte? He's now doing Twit. But I used to watch Tech TV back in 2000, 2001. It was like on satellite or on like cable. You can get it. It was pretty interesting times. I kind of miss those days, but we've come so far since then, of course. My first laptop is a MacBook with Touch Bar. Oh my God. You're not that old then. What are the ports in the 15-inch? Hopefully USB-A is there. Adversary, I don't think they have a USB-A. From what I can see here on this picture, I'm going to put it here. I don't see a USB-A port. I think that might have been taken off. We'll see. I don't think it will have one. Yeah, forums were big. I remember forums were big, and then I remember CompuServe or America Online, all that stuff. It was very interesting times. Quick decision, everybody. Mo A needs to know: XPS 2-in-1, HP X360, Lenovo C940. Budget not an issue. You know how I stand, people. It's going to be the HP X360 because it hits on all the points: price, keyboard, design, ports, and battery. So you have to give it to HP Spectre X360. That's what I'm going with. I think, Cameron, you agree with me. What ultra portable do you recommend, a silent or go-to unit? I have a Surface Laptop 3. The fans are spinning for basic stuff like productivity. I like the Dell XPS 13. It's pretty quiet. The fan does kick in, but it's not loud, and it really only comes on when you're really pushing it. But when you're doing everyday tests, it's pretty quiet. I've been very impressed with the 9300. I'm glad we can help, Mo. Good luck on that. For my first year, I got a Spectre 15 2020. Okay. For my first, I'm planning to upgrade in 4 to 5 years. What changes should I expect at that time? Well, 4 to 5 years in the tech world is quite a long time. So we should expect some pretty significant advances there. So it's hard to say. A lot could change in 4 to 5 years. Hey, Mayar, how are you? No, it's okay. We're still on, man. We're still on. We've got 74 of you. Question: do you think the battery size is going to be different between the 13 and 15? Yes. The battery size of the 15 on the last model, I think it was 97 watt hours. Let me put that on here. Let me see. I think it was 97 watt hours. So I definitely expect it to be bigger than the 13 for sure. Again, 99 would be the legal limit to take on a plane. Wara says HP keyboards on the Envy Spectre laptops are hard to beat. Typing on Envy 13 right now. Envy's very good keyboard, by the way, and I don't think the Envy gets enough love. I love that laptop, and the video did really well on my channel. Yes, the Spectre also excellent keyboards. I'm telling you, they did really well on the keyboards, and I love the fact they went to the precision drivers for the touchpads. That's a huge, huge deal. People don't realize that. Lenovo is really good. I agree. Don't worry, Howie. We're good, man. We're still here. You could catch the replay, by the way. I keep it on my... I don't unlist these. I like for people to check it out. Good or bad for the channel. 13 2-in-1 is Max 6 favorite 13-inch. I love the... Okay, here's what... I love the XPS 13 2-in-1, but... Dan. And I love Max. He's a good guy. But I disagree. The 13 2-in-1, if you watch my review, I don't like the keyboard. It's too shallow. I don't like that maglev keyboard. And that's the biggest deal breaker for me on that. Better battery life on the Spectre X360, better keyboard, and you can also go with that OLED display, which you don't have an option for, obviously, for the 2-in-1. So that's my opinion. So that's just what I think. Just give me a second. So yeah, I mean that's going to be the deciding factor for a lot of people. But right now, I don't know. I don't know if I would recommend the 13 2-in-1 simply because it just doesn't it doesn't have a good keyboard, and that's a key. They did a great job on the 9300 this year of improving that keyboard. What's the best way to sell tech we upgrade from? eBay, stay away from. It's hit or miss. It's too many scams out there and stuff. Craigslist, not great either. Swappa, very good. I think out of those three, I would go with Swappa. eBay, too many scam artists. I think, who was it? Jonathan Morrison today got scammed out of his Mac Pro that he sold, or I don't know what he sold, iMac Pro. I don't know. Whatever it was, he sent the device. The guy never paid for it. I don't know if he paid for it and then made a claim with PayPal. It might be more of a PayPal issue, but eBay didn't back him up. And then the guy made a claim with PayPal, and then they refunded the money, took it. And so now he's out of the product and he's out of the money. So not good. I saw that whole thing on Twitter today. I still own a Dell Inspiron N5110 since 2011. Wow. It's almost killing me while I open a similar Word document. Yeah, it's a little bit dated. But if it gets the job done, hell, man, what the hell, right? So stay away from eBay, everybody. I don't think you should use that. It's terrible. I mean, I've had hit or miss experiences with that, But again, lately, the scam artists are out in force. So Silver Ghost is saying, you said you like having thin and light laptops, a second device. Please tell us, what are your first devices, or are you on your future buying list? Yes. Well, if you have that luxury of having a secondary device, I'd like to be as thin and light as possible, of course. If I were to have my main device right now, I got so many that I'm testing that I really don't have a main one right now. But it would be either the Dell XPS 15 might be one of them, depending on what. That's probably on my wish list, especially with that move to a 16:10 aspect ratio. Possibly the 17. I don't know what the weight is going to be on that, so we'll have to see. HP Spectre X360, the 15-inch. I love that one as well. Not quite as powerful, but very thin as well. It's not the lightest either, but again, portable enough. So there are a lot of things that I want to see. What does 2020 present in terms of refreshes for those devices? So we'll see. All right, XPS 137390 or the Lenovo S940. I reviewed the S940 last year, and I reviewed the 7390. Or did I? I don't remember. No, I don't think I did the 7390. I think I did the 9380. 7390, correct me if I'm wrong, has is that the 6-core processor? I don't remember. But the S940 was a very good device. It had the reverse notch. It was very good. But I think I would go with the XPS 13. Razer Blade Pro 17 2019 has an RTX 2080 Max Q with 4 fans, but that means you'll get shorter battery life than the Blade 15. Yeah, I mean, of course, thermals are going to be an issue, and that's going to, obviously, the power is going to take away battery life. It's a balance, and that's going to be the issue. I want to review more Razer, as I talked about, more gaming stuff, so I plan on doing that. Yes, Comet Lake, that's right. So with the Comet Lake processor, I just reviewed the Asus ZenBook 14 with the Comet Lake in there, and it's a good processor. I would go, if you're going to compare that and the S940, I like the XPS 13 7390. Getting back to this question. All right, so where are we? We're at an hour and 23 minutes. We got 63 of you. So far, it's been a really nice live stream. I don't know how much longer we're going to go. I wanted to do it tonight. I still plan on doing Friday. I don't think I'm going to cancel that, but I'm planning on doing it. Right now, things are looking good on the channel. Let's see what kind of subscriber count we got. I just want to take a quick check to see. And we're now at 80,689. So good. We gained 1 subscriber in the last 30 minutes. Lenovo. Remember, hit the like button. It helps the algorithm on this video. It'll help get my videos in front of people, more suggested videos. And that, of course, helps me get more views. And more views, of course, looks good for the brands. The brands will then send me review units, and then you get the picture. Adversary saying Lenovo is good, but I had issues with the X1 Carbon 7th Gen. Some people have had issues. I haven't. I love the X1 Carbon. I'm looking forward to the 8th Gen. But there were, I know what you're talking about. Vabam, VA Beach sucks. Virginia Beach sucks. I hope not. I like that place. Will most OEMs switch to the new Ryzen mobile processor, or does Intel have too much clout? Well, that's going to be the interesting question, right? I mean, they're making some really good positive vibes right now, inroads with this Ryzen 4000. And I think Intel is a little bit worried. Now, Intel does have a lot of clout, so we'll see how they're going to try to counter them. But they're going to have to step up their game because AMD has stepped up their game, and we're going to see. Dave Lee calls them inconsistent. Yeah. What are you talking about? Are you talking about the Ryzen processor? Let me know what you're talking about, and then we can figure that out. All right, Surface Laptop 3, X1 Extreme Gen 2. Different kind of, again, Surface Laptop 3 or Extreme. I'm going to go, I love the Surface Laptop 3. I'm assuming you're talking the 15-inch version. I'm going to go with the X1 Extreme Gen 2 because of the GPU in that one is better than the one you find on the, I can't remember because I know the 15 had the AMD Ryzen, and then there was the ThinkPad X1 Extreme Gen 2. I'm going to go with the X1 Extreme Gen 2 for now. Oh, okay. I see what you're talking about. He calls Lenovo. Gotcha. He calls them inconsistent. Yeah. Lenovo, you know what? I love their ThinkPad line. So you know where I stand on that. So we'll see. They do have some issues that they do need to figure out. I agree. All right, so we got 62 of you. Any other questions before we wrap this up? Again, if you're watching me on Amazon Live, all the deals that I think are really good are going to be in the carousel below. I'm glad we were able to do one for Tuesday night. Again, exciting news, XPS 15 2020, XPS 17 2020. This is going to be great. So we'll see. This was the issue that you had with the fan ticking in certain positions. I've heard that. Power button being inconsistent, I have not heard that one. And the screen hinge cracking, I have heard. So quality control, Lenovo. Let's see what you're going to do this year. You got to shore that up for sure. When will the Huawei MateBook X Pro 2020 be available? I don't know. I'm gonna might have to go out of pocket on that one because you know I love it. It's been a while since I reviewed a MateBook. I know I did the MateBook X Pro from 2018. I did the MateBook 13. And now I want to do the X Pro 2020. That would be great. I had a battery issue, and they had a technician in my house by the end of the week. That's not bad. That's pretty good, Cameron. I'm confused between the Latitude 9510 or the top-of-the-line Precision or a Lenovo ThinkPad Extreme Gen 2, or is there something else you suggest? I want ports, i9, metal body, better cooling. I didn't review the 9510. I got a chance to use it for a little bit, play with it a little bit back at CES 2020 at the Dell Experience in the Venetian, but I couldn't come to any conclusions. It looks like great hardware, looks like a great display, great performance out of that, but we'll see. Hopefully I will be getting one into the studio. So I can't answer that question, Silver Ghost, until I really get a good review on that Latitude 9510. And the Extreme Gen 2, you watch my video, you know I love it. It's one of my favorite. Right now, the 5540, if you're looking for, but that's more of a workstation, so I'm not going to recommend that. Well, actually, you are saying the Precision line. The Lenovo 5540, which is very similar looking, of course, to the Dell XPS 15, but I would wait. If you can wait, Silver Ghost, we got a lot of stuff coming. The P1 Gen 3 is another one. The Extreme Gen 3, I'm expecting, should be good. So I would wait to see what Lenovo has to offer. And then I want to see what these new Dell XPS 15 and 17 have to offer. We'll see. Intel is 2 times less powerful than AMD. AMD is making some real inroads, so we're going to see what they're going to do. Do you think that the 17 model is going to have touch display as well? Because LG Graham didn't put a touch display. I do think they will have it. I hope they do. They did have it on the 15-inch, of course. We've used it. But I hope they put a touch model in it because that would be great, even on both the 15 and the 17 inch. So hopefully that answers your question, Meyer. So right now we got 59 of you in the live stream. Let me just check something. I just want to see how everything is going here. Everything looks pretty good. Let me go to video. Okay. So right now we got 58 of you in the live stream. We're hitting an hour and a half. I think we're going to start to wrap it up. Let me just take a few more questions. Dave Lee posted a video saying, let's talk about thick laptops. Yep. I saw that. It was a good video. Dave Lee's a good guy. I like Dave Lee. I used to like him in the old days. I understand a lot of success in his way, and he earned every bit of it. But I kind of wish I used to love his reviews when I first started out. I don't watch him so much anymore. I do watch him occasionally. I don't watch too many tech YouTubers anymore since I've been doing it. But that's just because I'm so busy making videos, I think. All right. Why do laptops never have a micro SD or SD card slot? I realize that they're the same technology, but one is used for storage expansion, the other for file transfer. Micro SD is found in the XPS 13 2-in-1, the XPS 13 9300 that I just reviewed. I think it's also in the 2-in-1 we reviewed last year. And so they do have it, and it's good if you want to expand storage. Data transfer, you could do both on a full size. I kind of like full size only because I'm filming stuff on a camera on a full size SD card. It's nice to be able to take it from the camera into the laptop and boom, you're ready to edit. No need for any dongles, no need for any kind of transfer other than straight from the camera right to the laptop. That's why I was upset when Apple took away the SD card slot. Because I edit most of my videos, if you don't know, in Final Cut Pro. And one of the biggest, and I hated they took that SD card slot out of the MacBook Pro back in 2016. Surface Pro also has a micro SD. Yes, it does. So you can expand storage on that. Paul P. Wingard is saying, I'm out of work and broke, and the emergency benefit offers me nothing. So I am skipping this year and getting ready to abandon my apartment and put everything into storage maybe next year. Oh, sucks, man. I know it. I understand. Right now, it's not the time to buy anything. I understand, man. It's a tough time, and hopefully, you're going to get back on your feet. So we're all praying for you, and we're here for you, man. 0 hour got here late. XPS 17 looks nice. Yeah, 0 hour. It looks great. 17 inch, got those micro bezels, even bezels, thin bezels, all four corners, all four sides. Laptops used to come with multi-format card readers. As they get thinner, they come with readers that support micro SD only. Now they're starting to disappear. Yep. And therein lies the problem, right? Apple started a trend, a very dangerous trend, and it seems to be catching on with the other OEMs. Is the 9th and 10th gen Intel processor safe from Spectre and Meltdown? We're going to find out. The 10th generation i9s are coming out. They're going to be in the Dell XPS 15 and 17. We're going to find out the thermals. Did Dell do it? Now, as far as HP, we're expecting them to have also updated processors. I'm expecting ones with Core i9 as well, 10th gen. So we will see. May possible leave my Gram 17 for it. Yeah, I mean, I can't wait to get both the 15 and 17 into the studio so I can put it through its paces. I ached. Why don't they ever have both? Good question. They should have. It would be nice, but again, space is always going to be consideration. I think you're talking about micro SD and an SD. It would be nice to have both. Yep. All right, people. We're at an hour and 33 minutes. Let me see what Pavan has to say. Can you please do a video on XPS 13 versus the 13 2-in-1? I can't do a head-to-head on that because I gave back the 13 2-in-1 back to Dell late October when I reviewed it. So I don't have it, but I do talk about it And some of the stats will be in my graphs. If you watch my XPS 13 video, my review of the 9300 for this year, I do talk about a lot about the XPS 13 2-in-1, the differences. So, for instance, the keyboard, the battery life is represented, I think, on both. But I just go back to my video from late October. You'll get both numbers if I didn't do it. But they're very similar devices, but with a better keyboard on the 9300. The 2-in-1 has the word. I don't like the keyboard on the 2-in-1. Same display, except you're getting pen support on the 2-in-1. And of course, you can put it into the different modes, being a convertible. You can't do that with the 9300. So I can't do a head-to-head is the bottom line. But I do talk about the two. Intel is powerful than AMD in the performance department on the laptop 3. I don't know about that. I remember I showed you the numbers in my video, and AMD did well, but didn't do quite as well as the Intel. Not on that chip, at least. All right, people, I think we're almost done. So yes, I will be doing a 9510, so stay tuned for that. I'm waiting for Dell to send that to me, hopefully soon. And thank you for asking such nice, great comments and questions, Silver Ghost. You've been doing great on the channel, and I'm glad you found my channel. For those that are not subscribed to my channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. Please hit the like button on this video so we can get this seen by as many people as possible, so we can get as many views as possible, so I can get more review units. That's how it works, ladies and gentlemen. So thank you. We have 68 of you. Thanks, Mayar. It's good to see you. Stay safe, my friend. 0 Hour, good to see you. Better late than never. I'm glad you were able to get it. Catch the rest of it in the replay. You'll hopefully like it. We got Fan. Thank you so much for all your questions and comments. Really helpful. Helps the hour plus go by really quick. It goes by too quick. I would like to be here all night, but I have more work to do to get these videos out to you. I want to say thanks to everybody. Who else can I say thank you to? Adversary, thank you. Good questions. Duck Vision, thank you. Cameron, thank you for that super chat. I really appreciate it. Who else do we have here? I know Tech for Your Needs was here. I got to find this comment. Everybody else, you know who you are. Howie, how are you? Let me get to everybody because I hate to leave somebody out. Thank you for your comments. Duck Vision, we talked about you already. Thank you. Silver Ghost, excellent stuff, man. Anyway, so let's wrap it up here. We got the XPS 15 leaked. We got the XPS 17 leaked. I hope you liked it. I expect to get these both into the studio once they're officially released from Dell, hopefully sooner rather than later. And I appreciate everything. So everybody stay safe, stay home. I think we turned a corner here, hopefully in the United States. I know that the Europe is having some issues, but it's starting to go down, hopefully, and we got to keep monitoring the situation. I know China, they open things up again, so hopefully we won't have a relapse in there. Let's hopefully everything will stay contained in there. As far as the United States, New York, everybody who's in the East Coast, stay safe. Everybody here in the United States, stay safe, and the world. Let's hopefully we'll get all through this. I'm glad I was able to do this for about an hour and a half to get your mind off things. And that's really all I wanted to do tonight. So we got some leaked laptops. I got some reviews coming up. I got a lot of stuff. For those that check out what I reviewed this past week, it's all on my channel. And if you're not following me on my social media, follow me on Twitter and Instagram. I post most of the updates there. And of course, subscribe to my channel. So until next time, everybody, this is Andrew. I have a lot of videos coming up, and I want everybody to stay safe. Have a good night, and I'll see you in the next video. Have a good night, everybody. Bye-bye.